The novel 12 Years a Slave tells of Solomon Northup's journey, an intellectual man taken from his home into the dangerous grasp of slavery. Along this, he faced hardships such as racial discrimination, specifically colorism. In the novel, Solomon recounts the treatment that darker slaves faced as opposed to lighter slaves. The value of a person laid heavily on their level of pigmentation. Today, we see this issue is still prevalent in society. We especially see this in the portrayal of people of color in media. Lighter-skinned people are preferable when it comes to casting roles and media representation. For example, Gods of Egypt was a story taking place in Africa, but most, if not all, of the cast were white. The lack of representation in media causes darker-skinned people to feel like they are worth less than everyone else, especially since they see no one like them. We also see this in movements like March for Our Lives, where the whites are supported on higher platforms than black people are. This not only shows a higher value of whites over blacks, but also gives off a sense of systematic racism. The value of lighter-skinned people is something seen globally. Racism and colorism coincide with each other greatly. Through these interviews, we see different people's experience of discrimination and how that shaped them and who they are today.
Do you know different types of discrimination?
There's so many. There's not. It shouldn't even be a list. Honestly, it's basically if you see something that you notice off of somebody that they can't change, and you treat them differently because of that, that's a form of discrimination. Regardless if it's color, if it's hair texture, if it's having both limbs, as far as both arms or both legs, age, all of it can be considered discrimination. You can discriminate against somebody over anything.
I get a lot of comments about how I eat rice and beans every day, or how I should go back over the border even though I'm not Mexican. So I have experiences.
Do you know what colorism is or have any experiences with it?
I believe colorism is saying that you're better, like, for example, like a light-skinned black person and a dark-skinned black person, saying that the light-skinned black person is more superior than the dark-skinned black person. But me, I personally never experienced colorism.
I know what colorism is, and I've had experiences with colorism, and I am West African, and I'm Fulani. Most Fulani people are light-skinned, and I'm obviously dark-skinned, so I get trouble with that all the time. People say I don't look like how I'm supposed to look, which is light-skinned, I guess, which is wrong. Yeah.
Do you know what racism is or have had any experiences with it?
Racism is an institutionalized system of treating a class or a race of people as if they are lower class than another race of people based off of being a minority versus the majority. That being said, only white people can be racist because they are the majority within this country. You cannot be black and be racist because you're not a part of the majority. And racism is defined as a behavior exercised by the majority of a population. Black people and other minorities can be discriminatory, but that's about it. Second part of the question. Have I experienced racism myself? I've experienced racist microaggressions. I've experienced racist climates. I've never actually had a racist act done to me that I could say verbatim.
Do you know the difference between colorism and racism?
I don't think that colorism can be solved. It's not similar to racism. It kind of is, but it's two different things. Just like racism can't be changed or anything like that, colorism can't be changed either. It's all in the mind and stuff.
Which do you think is a more immediate issue?
I think more so racism. Of course, everyone can be racist or anything, but colorism is really more so like black people who struggle with being darker, because like back in the day, like lighter people were always praised and stuff like that, and so people get insecure or people get bashed because they are darker, because I know I've been bullied because I am dark skinned, and most of the time those people that were bullying me were black people. So white people can be racist, but they don't see us as like different races, like different colors, and you're all black. They see us as all black, not light skin, dark skin. They don't know the difference. If you're racist and you're white, you're just racist. You're not going to be racist towards black, darker people or light skinned people because they don't know the difference. And black people do know the difference.
How does colorism affect your identity?
My personal identity, colorism makes me my own biggest fan when it comes to my skin complexion and celebrating beauty in all shades. Granted, I do possess some bias as far as celebrating darker complected blacks versus lighter complected blacks, because I feel like if there's not a lack of, there shouldn't be a surplus. But darker complected people have been put to the side and discriminated against for long enough, and my black is beautiful, and I want every other dark-skinned person to do the same thing. So if I see, a beautiful, rich chocolate woman, I'm going to celebrate that and put it at the forefront of my mind. Same vice versa with a man. If I see that skin complexion, if I see that melanin popping pretty much, I'm going to celebrate it. Not saying that I don't appreciate lighter complected women. I'm not saying that I don't think that all black is beautiful. I'm just saying I'm going to provide where there's a lack. I'm not going to provide.
Do you think that colorism can be solved, and what steps can we take to eradicate it?
Colorism is something that definitely can be eliminated, and it starts with people starting to understand each other and not focus on each other's differences, but rather what brings us together.
However difficult it may seem, but yeah, I don't know if it'll end until there are no more marginalized populations, right? So, but as individuals, we can do the same things that we can do, when any kind of situation of bigotry happens, is, step up, speak up, and then promise not to participate in it yourself, right? And then, educate your friends. If you see one of your friends doing something that's blatantly colorist, be like, that's not okay, and here's why. And kind of inform them, if they're part of your community, right? Inform them you're helping to perpetuate things that are even larger than just this statement that you just made, right? Perpetuating colorism perpetuates racism. And so if you're not okay with racism, then you best not be okay with colorism as well. Those, I think, and then maybe hopefully the circle starts spreading, right? A little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.